Testing, testing. Okay, this is closer. Oh my god, that's a hair in my eye, bro. Is there hair in my eye? Hello, Lord. Hello, 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 hello. Maple Story OBGM. Okay, let's go. Hello, Deemer. No, I said hair in my eye, bro. Not eyebrow. Yes, I apologize, Deemer. I usually set the timer correctly, but it seems like I've set it to the wrong date. It has happened before, but not that often. I'm sorry you had to wait and realize that nothing was here. Yeah, subtitles is gaslighting, everyone. Don't believe the subtitles. Subtitle. Where's my ref, bro? Original じゃない。こっちだ。Original? Original? Originalito? I'm obviously mentally unstable today. Also, I have decided that I want to learn one Korean phrase every stream. So that by the end of this year, I'm actually also going to know a little bit more Korean. Even if it's like not very well done. It's still along on the way. I said I wanted to learn it over the course of 10 years. A year has already passed, so I should probably get started. I'm gonna translate to from Japanese because they have similar grammar, so I think it's probably a little bit more accurate. Okay. Today is my favorite phrase. This is drawing is very fun. Well, drawing is fun. It just says fun, right? Let me just print this to English. Drawing is fun, isn't it? This is what I always like to say. So what is this in Korean? This is where's Korean? I hope this is not loud, by the way. I don't know how loud this is. This might be really loud. Just be careful. Oh no, actually it's limited anyways. You guys won't get blown out. Hiya. Wait. Listening to Maple Story music or learning Korean. How much more Korean can I get? 하얗구나? How do I make this slower? I thought you can make it slower. So it's 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. 제갑? 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. 그렇지. I thought this is 즐겁군요. How am I doing, Deemer? 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. Why is it so fast, man? Why can I not be a little bit slower, dude? So this is art. This is drawing. So this is 그리다. 그리기는. What is this? 그림. 그리기는 즐겁군요. 즐겁군요. Ah, yeah, bye. I kicked it. Oops.
즐겁다.
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 Okay, I'll just pop this in every once in a while, so I will try to remember it. Next time I can be sarcastic in 3 different languages. Very cool. I'll find a new phrase every day or something. I probably not remember most of them, but then at least we are going through this process. And then, because it's very similar to Japanese, right? It's literally 1-for-1 translation at this point. So this is art, this is art. This is to draw, but with the form changed so that it can match the particle. This is to draw, and this is the particle. And then this is to say that it's fun, to change the form and fit the ending. This is also to say that it's fun, but then the ending is separate. Oops. So it's literally 1-for-1 for grammar, so it's great. 韓国人の時間? 韓国語の時間, hi. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, PS for Marty. Anyways, back to art. I've been thinking about my my many dimension, my 3 perspective setup here, and I want to skip the one that we had before. So it's not. Oh, this is the sketch that I did yesterday, by the way. There's a lot of sketches here. It's like 4 layers of sketches that I did in 3 hours or something, 3-4 hours. But it's mostly just like these are studies. These are me trying to do something. And then this is me trying to figure out like a action pose setup, which I never figured out, by the way. And then there's the final one, which is a little bit more time invested sketches, but they're also not really going anywhere. But it's nice, I think, being in the voice chat. But like I predicted, like I can't really chat, or I can't really look at the chat. But it's a good place to just kind of go there and be like, oh yeah, you know what? This is like a place for work, and I can just maybe work a little bit better. But anyways. So the previous one, the biggest issue is primarily the colors. I couldn't get anything satisfying, and in the end it became like this really weird setup where, because the only light source is coming in from the left, it looks like it's an enclosed environment, and I didn't really have the balls to sort of commit to like a really vibrant color palette, like a very colorful color palette. So in the end, I'm just gonna scrap this for now. The idea is still there, right? Maybe one day we'll find a reference that actually allows me to see it through the end. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave this, but in alignment with what we want to practice, which is Hello Circle, which is a 3-point perspective, 2 characters, and 2 sources of light. I'm going to set up a new set of stuff. So this is the idea. So we're going to have 2 pieces here, right? It's going to be one where... basically, it's one where we're looking from the bottom up, and one where we are sort of top looking down, right? So we have our characters on the row here, and then we have like many tall buildings over here, right? Imagine there's 2 tall buildings here, and then in between there's like a sliver of light that's kind of coming down on them from the sun, from the sky. So they're caught in this light, and maybe it's like a road crossing, maybe it's not a road crossing. This is the part where we can get really flexible, because depending on how the light looks like, how the colors are grouped, how the shapes look like, you can change this from anything between like concrete, asphalt, maybe they're standing on the sidewalk, maybe there's like dirt and grass, maybe there's like benches, you know, it could be anything. So it's pretty flexible. In general, I do intend to keep it as simple as possible. And then the other thing would be, so in this scene, we have our 2 main characters here, right? So the challenge again is to have characters in 3-point perspective here, which would be a good practice. And there will also be other things that are running on separate perspective grids, right? They all sort of have the same horizon line, but they will have different sort of what's that called, vanishing points. And then of course we have the shadow that's being cast, and the shadow is not going to be straight line, right? It's going to depend on these sort of the silhouette of the building as well. So we got a lot of things to sort of work with here. And it's an interesting thing, because we know that there's going to be interesting shapes, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be perfect too. Because, you know, it really depends on how the light falls down, and no one really is going to be able to sort of do the math in their head and figure out if we draw it wrong or right. So it's going to be fine. It's going to be easy to do. The only thing is the set of buildings. The reason why I have this on landscape instead of... Hello, Duvet. Thank you, Duvet. I'll take a look at that in a second here. Because we could do it the other way, where instead of doing like a landscape, I'm just going to do 2 buildings like this, right? Actually, I should just copy it over. So we can save some time here. But it could have just been like this, for example. And this will make it, you know, as a vertical portrait, it's a little bit easier to sort of show this gap in the middle. Because it feels longer. It feels like it's better. But then the thing I want to add is, I want to add another character. I want to add my third character, which is, she will be sort of made known to you guys further down the line. But it doesn't hurt to just draw like her face or something on like one of the balconies. And it will serve as an interesting sort of viewpoint, because then my setup becomes what it looks like from each other's perspective, right? We have one group of people looking from below up at everything, and one person that's looking down at each one of them. So there's going to be another person here somewhere. I don't know. So one person like this, and the others are like that. So it should be kind of interesting. And maybe the sort of setup here also changes, like, you know, how they perceive each other. I don't know what kind of story, like, sort of the portrait and landscape kind of tells in this scenario here. But, yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, you can always just shift this closer in, because the lighting between these two buildings are not going to affect each other. We're not expecting them to be that close, right, as shown by the scale here. So they're not going to affect each other. I can always just shift this in. The only thing that might be affected is sort of the clouds that I want to portray here. So, and I can shift the character somewhere else too. So it's not like we absolutely have to have a landscape, I think. Maybe having two portraits will make more sense. And then I can just have the head kind of like over here. And the idea is to, at least for the buildings here, this view here, the buildings are going to be super dark. So imagine you go outside, right? You have your phone facing the sky and it's really bright, and you're choosing to focus here. Your dynamic range is going to make it so that this part is going to be very dark, right? And then on the other hand, over here, we might have it slightly differently. So rather than having really dark, it could just be a little bit more sort of moody. It could go back to the colors that we had before, where it's more saturated, and it is more sort of moody in this sense, right? And then it kind of showcases the sort of difference between what people are sort of looking at. The people below are more looking at the sky, whereas the person on top is actually looking at them, right, specifically. And that could do some nice storytelling, I imagine. So that's basically the current setup. To move forward, I do need to find some references of buildings from below just to check perspective and get some variations on the sort of building design and all that. Oh wow, Duvet, thank you. This is a landscape artist, I see. This is art, right? Well, is this Minecraft, dude? Okay, so you were saying Minecraft for a reason. Wow, okay, this is very this is not what I was expecting. But then again, I don't know why I was expecting people drawing Minecraft if I was expecting Minecraft. Yeah, okay, this doesn't even look like Minecraft from afar. Wow, okay. Look at that. I gotta actually send this to Lego Mia, because he will like this. I think he would actually like this. Let me send in the Discord the Vey Daily real quick, and I also ping him on my server here. There you go. Very cool, very cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to send this. Where am I supposed to send this? It is under art resources, threads, Duvey's dailies, check. There you go. 3D pixel art. Yeah, like he does like building stuff in he builds Legos, right? Which is very similar to Minecraft. So he also likes building stuff in Minecraft, and this looks really nice. Like this actually looks really nice. You do kind of need a shader for this, but that's not really a problem. Maybe a custom pack? Yeah, this is Minecraft. This is Minecraft indeed. So we got a Minecraft artist today. Like the buildings are, you know, as expected, a little bit more blocky. Like the resolution isn't necessarily that high, but it's also a lot higher than I would expect though, if I'm being honest. I'm wondering like how it will look if you walk down there, right? Because like your character is only 2 blocks tall. So you're like the size of the window here, for example. That means the room is probably really kind of like a high ceiling kind of vibe, perhaps, maybe. Like, because it looks great from afar. I wonder if it looks just as good downstairs. Like maybe things would feel a little bit off if they're slightly bigger, because you do kind of need to make it big for the resolution. To have that curve, you know, on this roof, for example. So It'd be interesting. Yeah, I wonder if they yeah, what is this? So they're selling なと思ったもの、実際写真や図マイクロで再現したもののよう。これが君も固く。Okay, okay. So just saying that, you know, he's just making stuff that he thought would be nice to have. And then there's a bunch of explanations in the book, basically. So that's the new one for the more recent Comic Cat, and this one is the old one from before, but it's with mistakes in the words and stuff fixed. That's what it says here. Minecraft. It looks pretty decently thick too. Yes, that is decently thick actually. Good stuff. What is that? Oh, that's the catalog for the Comic Cat. What else do we got? Wow, okay. I talked to Lego Mia about like the creations like this because in Minecraft and in Legos, you're inherently limited by the medium, right? It's not like you can draw perfect circles in either of these things. So I was asking, you know, because he always talks about compromising his ideas. And in art, you kind of have to do the same, right? Sometimes you just don't have that skill and you really shouldn't spend that much time going for it because some things are just out of your capabilities at that moment and you have to compromise, right? So why is it so much harder for me to compromise? And at the end of it, it's basically like in Lego, you're inherently limited by the medium, the type of blocks that you can use, right? The shape of the blocks and how they fit together. You're inherently limited. So it is a very, how do I say, core part of the process. But on the other hand, art also has its own limits, right? Art is not like a moving thing, it's not dynamic. That would be animation, and animation is multiple pieces of art in sequence, so that doesn't really count. So if you only have one piece of art, you are also inherently limited by that medium. But the only difference is that ceiling is way higher, because you can do almost anything you want. And as a result, right, people have reached that level, right? People have reached that really high level, and therefore it's easier for you to sort of set the level up there. So it's kind of like saying, maybe like, the absolute limit, right? If this is like the absolute limit of like art versus Legos, there's an absolute limit is quite a bit lower because simply you cannot like, you know, stuff that's like no circles here, for example. No perfect circles here. So even as high as you go, you're still limited at some point. And this is probably easier to achieve than maybe you setting your limits here. And yeah, and because the norm is kind of like here that we usually see, you kind of feel like you want to reach this level, and some ideas can only be expressed at this level. So it's interesting. There's a lot of parallels between the sort of you know, any creative process, I guess. Also, I'm looking through all this. Is this like the... Oh, okay, this is the planning. Perspective helper. Oh, wouldn't Blender be more easier to do? I feel like maybe not. Kind of hard to imagine. Like Minecraft would be easier to do, you know. Because Blender, if you take the effort and build it out, at least you can like use some of the details one for one, because it's just gonna be a straight line there or something. But like Minecraft, if you take the time, you have to fix all the lines and stuff again. It's interesting. Also, I see that this is literally just the same city, huh? I wonder how long this took him. This must have taken forever, dude. Holy shit. Like, this has still the same buildings, right? For sure. It's been like years, man. Holy shit, this is years of work. Yes, hello VRV379. Yes, thank you very much. I'm not sure if there's a necessarily... But yeah, I mean, it's up to you, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Duvet, as well, for the recommendation. This is a mythical pool. Very cool. So I'm gonna look for some photos to sort of set up this perspective. I do kind of want to be a little bit tighter. Like, this is I need to know what the sort of building facade design and stuff like that, for example. And also specifically perspective. But I think in our case, I'm just gonna really ignore the third point. Just because we're so zoomed in. Like the idea is to be so zoomed in that you can't see it. I don't think that would be the case though. If you're standing on the ground and you're looking up, I don't think it's going to be to this extent. But do you like building in Minecraft? I hate building in Minecraft. I don't like creative process in general because it takes a lot of patience to sort of fine-tune it. I think I had the wrong impression of what a creative piece of work, like a creative process is, right? Because you always look at time-lapse and you feel like you need to go fast. Or like, you feel like you should be able to go fast. But that's not the case. And yeah, I just don't have that patience. And then block game, like I mentioned before, because of the inherent limitation, there's a lot of things that you cannot do, right? You just outright cannot do. Maybe a certain design, maybe a certain colors, maybe a certain textures, you know, stuff like that. You can go out and look for texture packs, but that's like looking for brush packs, you know. You're not really building the thing, it can take forever and not get anything out of it. So it's interesting. It feels very frustrating because your ideas don't come out that easily. In art, it's like a different issue too. But yeah, creative process, yeah, like I guess it just feels like you are kind of crippled. Like you cannot get your ideas across that easily. So it's not that fun for me. Neither is that fun. And Minecraft, I think, is a lot harder. Anything 3D, I feel like it's harder. Especially like if you're building something that has... I mean, same thing for art, right? You're doing things that people inherently understand, right? You draw a building, you draw a character. People inherently understand anatomy, inherently understand a perspective. So when it goes wrong, it's very obvious. But then there's also the other aspect, which is how usable the space is. In art, I think it's a lot easier to do. You can just say that this is this spacious and that amount of space and blah, blah, blah. But in 3D, like imagine in Minecraft, right? You can build a house that looks fine, but on the inside might be completely unusable. It might be too small, right? For you to fit like the Minecraft equivalent of a desk and chairs, right? It might not have space for chests. All these things then sort of factors in. Whereas in art, the only function is to deliver a message, right? But in 3D, in Minecraft specifically, there is still a function of the space. More than just the message, right? Your message could just be a nice building. Your message could just be the architecture language, the design language. But there is a factor of function of the space. And if that doesn't work out, you know, maybe it's okay, maybe it's not, but I'll be the type to sort of be like, oh shit, this sucks, you know? That's why I don't want to touch it. I feel like it's way more complicated. I haven't really found anything, again. I think for the most part, I don't want to get stuck looking for references, of course. Of course, it's a very bad thing to have happened here. I might use the colors. Why do I copy and paste this? Am I stupid? I just move it over, bro. Oops. Such a... Yeah, these tend to have like those kind of weird as sort of balconies and like design and facades and stuff. Might be more interesting than your like your typical apartment building. But either one's good. I think either one's good. All we need is really that sort of variation in terms of what we see and stuff like that. And also to get the skill correct. I wonder if I should keep it like this. Like having the character here is really awkward. I mean, the idea is so that like the values are gonna be to the point where you wouldn't really notice this third character unless you really look. I want to go out of my way to make it as hard as possible for her to be noticed. Let's do this properly. I'm just gonna check the values real quick. Because the goal is to be pretty strong on this. So that from afar, you kind of really just... Okay, it's a mess. you really just kind of see the sky. And then I want the clouds to be the objective here, because I was looking outside and I saw clouds in the sky. And it's got some really nice, interesting light hitting on it at the very top and stuff, right? So maybe at this very top, it would just be like a little bit of cloud kind of vibe. And then there'll be a big gradient, so this kind of fades away. And then the top would be kind of... Maybe the top will also be kind of dark-ish, and only this part will be super bright, basically. But it'll be very moody. The objective is to just be very moody. And then the part that's other than that will be in the dark. Wait, what? Oh, right. This is not dark. Yeah. Might be too dark. I'm not sure. I can't always figure that out. And then on the other side, it would just be a little bit more homogeneous. Maybe I should have just not drawn it. But just new now. Yeah, the shadows might need some work as well to make it look good, but... The basic concept would be like this, basically. I have to figure out what the characters are doing, though. So it's either this or the other guy, so it would be this guy, right? So, let's see. You like it already, Deemer. It's nice that sometimes I can see what I want, and it helps a lot. So even, yeah, like the previous one, we couldn't see it, was really bad. It made it so much harder. So the reason why I don't really like this is that it makes people want to find something in the space. Like, why else would you have so much space, you know, like... And this also has like the added benefit of like sort of being like a really tiny sliver, right? This is a very tiny sort of gap between the buildings to see this thing in the distance. And it really makes it feel more like a, hey, you know, hey, there's something interesting there, but it's hidden away in plain sight kind of vibe. But this one is also not too bad, you know, it's not too bad. This also works, so... Oh, this is night market music, let's see. Very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, at this point, I do not know. I'm just gonna have to, what's the word? Ignore this for now, because it's, again, pretty easy fix, right? I can always just kind of move some of the buildings around and it'll be fine. So we do need to settle two things first, right? The posing here and the storytelling here, and as well as the building setup and the building sort of facade variation. So that's the two biggest things that we have to get out of the way for today, at the very least. The very least here. I'm just gonna keep this like that for now, and I'm gonna set up my grid here. Broski, where's my grid? Let me new layer, ruler. I'm just gonna use 2 point because I don't want the third point. No, wait, I do need it. Wait, hang on. If I don't do this, does it let me draw straight lines down? I think it does, right? So it should be fine. Let me check. It does let me draw straight lines down, right? Why is it so dark? Oh, because of you. Oh. Damn it. Alright, okay, fine. どうしよう. Man, it's got a lot of music that I used to like. I used to travel to Ludi just to listen to this music. Well, できるんだね. Cool. We are getting set up here. So what do I do here? Let's just use this part here then. Let's just make that work for that. So I believe if the two buildings are on the same perspective grid, I would expect this point to be a lot further here. It would be probably a lot further to match the distance. This kind of, because I feel like we would be somewhere in the middle, I think. Oh no, sorry. We are gonna have two separate grids, but not okay. So I'm doing this wrong. Sorry. Just forget what I said. So this building will have its own grid. This other building will have its own grid. So there's gonna be two separate grids here. That's gonna be how it is. So I'm gonna duplicate this, hide one of the rulers, and then the other grid is going to follow its own thing. This sort of gives it a little bit more life because otherwise the grids are gonna be the same, and it feels like you're building a Legos or something. I don't know. It's really it becomes really flat. So now we have two buildings with two separate grids, right? And that should be fine. So I also never thought about the scaling, right? For example, if this was the scene here, that means it would be like we're really close to this building. It's fine though, right? We're zooming in. I mean, we're zooming in a lot here. That's why we're zooming into this level. I think it makes sense. If it sucks, then it's just another learning experience. I imagine we'll be doing this kind of compa pretty often here. I think that's a fallacy. Oh, actually, let me write this down. In the past, I definitely thought that, hey, I need to do the very best for the current one, and it makes sense. But I think the implication then was always that I will never do this again, but that doesn't make any sense. Write this down. Let me see. Okay, keep that. Very cool. So I think if we are okay with the perspective, I'm just gonna go for it. Actually, yeah, honestly, at this level, I don't have any reason to not go for it. Oh, there is another problem. I need to find a way to space the floors correctly. Because right now I'm just going by hand here. I need to know how much the ratio is. This looks like 1, 2, 3, maybe like 4.5, so like 4 out of 9. 4 out of 9. No, not 4 out of 9, like that. 2 out of 9. So I'm going to do. How am I gonna do this? Let's see. Then I draw a straight line down. Just the middle. Middle. 1. So I'm gonna use this much for the floor, and then all these are gonna be spaced, right? So that's the idea here. I hope it's not too loud again. Giving issues with the thing. Okay, so I have this thing here. I'm gonna put it into my perspective here. Guess I kind of want enough space here. Oh, it'd be kind of so maybe I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. Oh, I should draw in one stroke. Huh? Oh, wait a second. Yeah, it's a lot of space. Okay, we'll find out here how it works. I have to go off screen here just so I have enough space here. But this doesn't look right. So I think this will be the condominium, right? Which will have all these sort of funky stuff. Like I'm looking at the reference. This is like the balcony of condominiums. And a good part of it is like this glass sort of railing, which I kind of forgot to account for. Glass railing is somewhere in the middle of this stack. The remaining stack. In the middle of the remaining stack would be here. So it's like somewhere here then. Remaining of the stack. 1, 2. Cancel. 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then you kind of go there, right? Wow, okay, to get it to look exactly even might be kind of tricky here. Oh. I forgot that affects it anyways. It's only 16 by 9 though. 16 by 9 divided by half is 8 to 4.5, right? Yeah, this is not good. I don't have enough coverage that I want. So I think this side we have to scrap. Probably make this like a full wall and change it to something more apartment-like, I think. Without the glass railings. Just like solid concrete or like whatever the hell it is. Probably concrete, I guess. I don't like how much space this is what I don't like. Like this area here is not going to be dark, right? Because this is glass. And yeah. So what should I do now? Let me see. So my expectation right now is that this would end up looking like this. I mean, it could be interesting, but I don't feel it. So this will be changed. Ah, so let's get that. How high do I go? I go to the previous high, right? I think that can be just fine. Previous high will be here. Right. For the most part, I don't think it's not really gonna show up too much because the plan is to actually knock out this part to be really dark. But there'll be some minor variations, I guess, in the lighting. So it will only affect that sort of tiny aspect. And then the other guy now. I don't think the grid is done, right? Is this done? Is it far enough? It is pretty far. Let's see. So 6 is planned down. This is what again? Sorry, what is this? Oh, this is what I needed. Here we can do the 2 to 9 trick here. Make this smaller. We're gonna have so many more buildings here. Sorry, so many more floors here. I should have done that thing first. Let's do it. There's a lot more floors here, so I should just do this first now. I cannot read. So this middle is here. This middle is here. This middle is here. How many floors am I gonna have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. I do need a little bit more so that I can plan for it properly for the stuff that's outside as well. Since it will enter the frame. So that should be enough. Keep a copy here. Take another copy. Make it small. So make it a bit bigger. Too big, maybe. Thereabouts. So, how should I do this? The minor amount of changes should be fine. So the only reason why I'm thinking about this here is because I have a character here. And if I have a character here, I do at least want her to be one of the... Oh, actually, but if I don't want people to notice her, maybe I shouldn't do the trick then. I shouldn't do the composition thing. I should just let her be somewhere awkward. Yeah, maybe I don't care about that then. If that's the case, we don't really care where everything goes then, actually. Because it literally doesn't matter. The whole point is to just not be seen, so, like... If that's the case, then it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, broski. Doesn't even matter if I draw a little bit backwards, too. I'm gonna draw a little bit further away. Oh man, if my tablet screen would stop flashing, that would be nice. So you... Oh wait, do I? なるほどね。多分入ってるか？入ってないか？ 然念のため一旦ここまでにしよう。If we don't like this, we have to redraw this. But I'm just gonna assume that this is the right scale here. I should have drawn it sideways. Put it to the side here. Let's see this. Lasso, reset. Okay. あれじゃない。これだ。This is not very precise, is the thing. How should I have done this though? I mean, you can copy and paste to some extent. I should have copy and pasted the thing so that it would have been yeah, I should have copy and pasted with the ruler. But it should be fine, I think. Even if going by eye, we shouldn't be that far off. I mean, if it's not perceivable, then it's the same as not having any errors, I think. It doesn't have to be that tight. Especially since we're doing color rubs, actually. I shouldn't really even need to go this far, actually, for what we wanted to do. Or what I say I'm going to do, but... since we're here, why not? Now we have the primary. Oh, and the tricky thing is, this doesn't go on all the way, right? So at some point it has to stop, and then we have to show some more depth, and then... yeah, the building's gonna change a little bit. So that's fine. That's also fine. We just have to be aware of that. But in the meantime, we don't really care. I am just going to pull lines. So let's just pull these ones here. Oh shit, not enough. I need one more, I think. Ah, damn it. I should have foresaw this. Foreseen this. Saw this. Cool. And then now for the secondary. Got it? Oh. So this is glass. This part will be see-through. In the shadows, this might be a little bit tricky. Because since it's clear glass, and also because the geometry is so clean, it would let the light pass through to some extent. Our reference here actually has a board blocking out the sun. I don't know if we want to do that. Maybe we want to do that, just so that it makes it easier. But if we do that, we kind of lose that sort of interesting jagged edge that I wanted in the shadow. So maybe we won't. Not sure just yet. But yeah, this kind of has to stop somewhere too. So our thingy has to stop at some point. Maybe I'll just put it here arbitrarily. Actually, no, we should do this to scale. Actually, do I do this to scale? Let me think. Why not, right? I could just do it to scale. I wonder if that would be copyright infringement. I don't know how that works. Because it is a design, right? But anyways, this is just for ourselves anyways. For now, so it shouldn't be a problem. So I need to drop a line somewhere. And what does this line mean, right? This line means that everything beyond this line goes towards the other direction. So we can just arbitrarily set this here. And I'm gonna nuke everything to this side here. So in the event that we do actually not use a landscape like this, right? We don't draw in this big scale, but rather this one. Then none of these matters. We are already done. We'll just figure out this side and we'll be done. If that is the case. Hello, G-Talk. Oh god, I cannot see what's happening here. So this I don't need. Okay, this is reaching here, so I need to grab this part. Today is more of a construction day. We're sorting out perspectives, sorting out buildings and stuff. And making sure the comp has enough sort of meat behind it before we go in to do some color roughs. Because as rough as I want it to be, I do also want it to be in a state where we can just kind of get started painting, if, you know. So the process needs to kind of just be the real deal. Otherwise, there's no point here. I'm gonna stop right there, and I'm gonna just cut in here. All of these guys need to start coming in. And at some point, it's very quick, it's gonna probably get blocked at some point. Yeah, it's not that long. So I don't have to make this too long. And of course, I'm doing the two sets of lines on different layers here, which makes it a lot easier to erase whenever we do need that. So in the meantime, this is fine. Actually, this is kind of nice because that means there's a corner right here on the secondary focal point. Not planned, but that's great. So now I need to decide on the turning point of the second set. So let me go back to this. So it's going to be offset slightly to show the depth, right? Because the railing is not by the very, it's not on the same edge. So it shouldn't be on the same edge unless some perspective stuff lines up. But I don't know what is the condition here. I'm just going to offset it just so it's easier to see. I don't know what would the thing be, huh? Also, I just realized that I wonder if I need to have like a bit more of a perspective thing going on for the guys, for this building in the back, because it's not as zoomed in, right? If I were to do this, let me check. This is a 3D render. Right, because they're looking decently high up. Maybe there should have been, right? Maybe it's kind of like this apartment building where there should just be some amount of third point. Let me think about this real quick, because third point, 3-point perspective, other than just sort of showing the scale of the building, I feel like when the third point comes in, there's like another element to the whole thing, right? It makes it a little bit more dynamic. Like it makes people feel something a little bit different, especially bottom looking up. You feel like the tower is sort of towering over you. It's sort of got the oppressive vibe. If you can see the entire building, that is. If you can really, really feel the third point. So it's either we add in, because if you want to add in the third point perspective, we should make it visible. Otherwise, that I guess it wouldn't do too much anyways. Doesn't warrant a redraw of what we already did. But if we do have the feeling of the third point, it might take away from the idea here. Because I kind of just want to see the sky. I don't really want to see anything else. And who knows, right? Maybe this is so high up that it actually doesn't matter anymore, too. Because it doesn't look that way. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna ignore it. I mean, all likelihood I was gonna ignore it anyways, because I didn't really want to redraw this. But at the very least, I feel like I should have... oh, you know what? The reason this is kind of tricky is because I didn't do the other line here. I didn't want to do it, but I guess we should. I didn't do the bottom here to indicate the roof. Let me use a red line here. I can change colors easily later. But at least I can see what's happening now. And the bottom one doesn't matter. Cool. So, let's see. Up to this point, everything else does not matter, and then it goes up to this point. Chonk, 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 chonk. Care about these guys. I'll say we'll have to stop here. Feel like the floor is not the same width or something. But it's about to get a lot rougher later, so who cares, I guess. Don't care about that. Oh my god, I cannot see it. It's like here somewhere. Shit. Maika. Should be about the same anyways. Thereabouts. Was it 8? No, it was only 5, I think. Hello, Dubay. Pain in the ass. Holy shit, this thing. And then finally, I need a stopping point as well for where this stops. So it goes in and hit the wall, right? It hits that wall here. So if I just leave a tiny little bit, this should be fine, I hope. The only reason why this might not be fine, for example, on here, is the depth on this side that's being shown. But then this being a corner of the building, you could also argue that the balcony continues on that side of the building, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to match up. Like, for example, if this was here, then technically the corresponding end on here would be here. But I could just say that, oh yeah, but you know, but if this was here, I would actually have to show that roof line. So maybe I do have to make sure that it's at least enough to not have to bother. So it would be here, for example. So this part here will go in and not be visible. In the reference, it is visible. Am I not being too tidy or too early? I don't think it is. Because in this case here, I think the value comp and the sort of idea is pretty clear. So later on, like for example, if I do just start the color rough right now, a lot of the sort of colors and the minor changes that will be present on the building will depend on the sort of structure. And if my structure isn't clean, it's gonna bother me a lot and interfere with the process, I think, based on previous experiences. So it's hard to say, yeah. What's the saying again? Don't count your eggs before they hatched. Early optimization, root of our evil. But we're not optimizing though, exactly. We're just part of the process, I think. I think for me, I want this. So I'm just gonna continue with this. Actually, I do have to put it here and look at the thing. But I get what you're saying though, Dubey. I do get it. I just want to be tight with the structure because otherwise I worry. We do kind of have to draw this again though later. You know, when we eventually do lines. Suppose, like, if we actually, you know, render this, for example. But once at least this step is done, you know, we're done with this step. So you still only do this thing once, strictly. Like the construction has to be done separately anyways. So I am okays with these. So that's the cut for that. Yeah, I think the difference is that I kind of see the comp a lot better this time rather than before. At least I would like to think so. So, I mean, there's still a chance I fuck this up. So, who knows? This part here is pretty straightforward, I think. And then, oh, actually, what's the roof like? Oh, okay, there should be more lines here. Not make it too difficult on myself. If it doesn't need to be, I'm just gonna push manual status here. Wait, how do I discount the width? Wait, what? So it's just be the... Why does it look so different? It's not equal enough. Oh, I guess this part is fine. You can always figure it out some other time. Oh, but if this is the case, I do need another line here, I suppose, to show the width. Which is tied to what? So a good part of this space would be for the floor on top. Whereas this here, maybe just like that. That's a little bit of space there. Oh shit, this line was entirely imaginary. Like invisible. I should have just done it on a different layer. It's fine though. Okay, now what? Merge with the layer below, and then I can get a new layer here. So we do have to finish the setup, I suppose. And then the other thing would be to maybe add some variations to the buildings themselves. I'm gonna have to start using different color lines here. Holy. Doesn't feel thick enough, but it's not because of that. It's because I didn't do this correctly. Yeah, about, huh? Should have maybe considered that together. Should have just been together then. Probably too minor to bother. Guess it would have been here, huh? So this line is entirely off. Okay. Hello, Dodo. No, that's not necessary. Hey, あ、そっか。書いてないってことだな。Dang it. Again, the lines I should have just done. The vertical line should have been done on a separate layer. I'm gonna go ahead and erase it a bit. I do this well here. Oh, whoops. I should have continued the blue line here. Go this way. Wait, what? Oh no, it would have been here. Oh, okay, it would have been there. Okay, not the inside. I do want to follow that sequence here. We could also do it some other way. Push down. Oops. Oh yeah, it's kind of deceptive that this is on top though. Cool. And the building lines. Maybe I just do this by eye here. Oh, it does look like it's following this, but I'm not gonna go that high. I just follow this line. Yeah, it's not very consistent, is it, huh? Ho ho ho. Merry Christmas. Hang on. One set of lines, second set of lines on the bottom. I see. Oh, music has ended. Very cool. There's a time for Korean. Okay, how do I say this again? 그림 그리기는 절 절 절 즐겁군요. 즐겁군요. 즐겁군요.
그림 그리기는 즐겁군요.
즐겁군요. 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. Okay. Let me do this to my Korean friend tomorrow. I'm gonna do this every hour. Am I starting architecture? Party's not over yet? Oh my, all the message. Hello George. Am I studying architecture? No, we're just trying to plan this illustration out. So the idea is this, right? Basically, you have one piece which is bottom looking up, and another one where it's top looking down, right? So we have our two characters looking up at the sky through the two buildings, and we have a special third character who's looking down. This is the setup here. So currently I'm just trying to set out the building to make it look interesting, so that when I do the color rough, again, like before, like we learned last time, right? Like without the lines, I kind of just trip over myself constantly. So I need the lines to be traced from the photo first before I started doing it, even though I still kind of tripped over. But that's because I don't really have a better, like, good idea of what the color is. This time around, at least the values are pretty tight, I think. And then colors we can kind of figure out. It's probably gonna be some kind of blue, pink, orange, yellow thing again. So, you know, it's kind of standard. It feels a little bit more standard, so I'm not that afraid. That's why I'm kind of committing into this right now. What is it? 그리기는 즐겁군요. Okay. 그리기는. We do one Korean phrase a day as well, by the way. We do one Korean phrase a day as well, until we get good or we get God. So by the end of the year, we also have like 250 different we have 250 different phrases, supposedly, allegedly. You know, I have to come up with a new phrase every day for myself, but it will be art adjacent, I think. But at least like things you can use in real life or something. And then if I find a chance to talk to my Korean friends, then over the course of 1 or 2 years, I think we should be able to pick it up, because it's the same grammar as Japanese, which makes it like a huge thing, like a much easier thing to do than anything else. 그리기는 즐겁군요. 그리기는 즐겁군요. Yeah, but until like my brain is like translates everything into Korean, like it doesn't really. You kind of have to speak in Korean in your head to really learn the language. To learn any language, I mean, like. You have to turn it into like this thing that you do. Why are these lines here versus these lines here? It must be because of the perspective, actually. Maybe then it's strictly correct. I mean, again, color rough. Doesn't have to be that tight. This side here is the windows. ここら辺が上じゃないわ。 Maybe I give it a bit more space. Just a little bit more space. Okay, where is the thing? So it's between the glass and the previous one. So actually like here. Yeah, this looks so weird. Why is it like so tiny? I feel like the red lines are a little bit wonky, but did I not plan everything correctly? It's very odd. Very odd indeed. I do see it getting lower and lower and lower. Maybe it's a mistake in the plotting. Maybe it is not. Kind of hard to tell. Oh, it's probably too recessed. Probably need to make it a little bit less recessed. Then. So yellow is my bottom. Yellow is the top for the lower floor. Basically, it is. I guess maybe stuff like this, I really don't have to plot it anymore, unless we're really going for the line art at the very end there. I would argue like this is probably where I should stop this construction for what we're doing here. Yeah, so I do kind of want to drop this here. I mean, I do need the bottom line here in order to lock it in. Unless I really want to follow this, because this looks so wrong here. It looks so off here. Doesn't feel like it's possible. Up, bottom. Pudim, 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 pudim. Pudim. 그리기는. 그리기는 그렇군요. I have to learn how to say it first before I can learn how to say it sarcastically. Gonna be a while. Yeah, actually, if you really want to learn it like this, I think every day's phrase should make use a little bit of the previous day's phrase. Because then you start noticing the patterns really quick. Like, oh, now I know that this word is going to be happy, or now I know this word is going to be fun, you know? And then it sort of connects a bunch of stuff together, and it all of a sudden becomes a lot faster to learn. So that would probably be the plan. So every day's thing should maybe connect a little bit more to the previous day's stuff. Oh, this is also not drawn. Yeah, it shouldn't look weird here. I mean, like, we constructed this. This is not like I just eyeballed it. It should fit together. Okay. It's got the rough idea there, I think. Any further we go is also fine, but like, I think currently this is no longer a priority anymore. The primary objective is to identify this part here, I think. Just to check the silhouette and sort of the ratio. You know what? I should do this too. So now that we have this here, I should be able to sort of go through and just kind of block this in real quick. And then we can check the sort of values here. And this also will be the color rough setup, I guess. Like the same block in I can use later. 그리기는 즐겁군요. If the subtitle is able to identify as Korean, that means I am doing something right, at least. I think the hardest part is not knowing the pronunciation. Like Japanese pronunciation, like the enunciation, the syllables are a lot easier to understand than Koreans, because there are just some words that I've never heard before in my life. I feel like some sounds. Oops, I need black. Okay. Should be visually interesting enough. Just so that we get a good amount of... Let me remove the interference here from the outside. Oh, let's turn this off. Bit of a frame around it. 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. Right. Let me think. So what does the color say? Right? Do I care? No, actually I don't care. Let's not care about that for now. I don't think I have the capacity to do so. Okay, so it's the other characters now then, I guess. Join this in, join this in. Do I want that though? I feel like it maybe should have some, but just decided. Not sure about this.だよね。これだ。これ。Okay, now the pose is the problem. That was the thing that we found before. Oh, is it on the other board? I think it might be on the other board. I'll be right back. Ooh. Oh, wait, what? I'm stuck. Interesting. Oh, man. There you go. I just need to get warmed up here, actually, with anatomy and perspective. And that's also a Bible. Yeah, that's also there. Both these guys over. These guys can close. This part. Nice. What's a playlist? Oh. Oh, we've had this, we've been using this playlist for a while. It's just a 1.5 hour compilation of Fontaine music. It says part 3, but like 1, 2, 3 are just like the same pieces repeated in a different order, I think. Yeah, no problem, George. Now I have to figure out anatomy and perspective, which is hard. I deny. Aire. Gotcha. I deny. Fine. And this goes out then. You go down. Thank you. What does the reference look like? It's not that bad. It's not that extreme. If you want to go for that. I don't know what it should be, but these look fine to me. Okay, so this one here definitely is a lot flatter. Flatter. Ours may be the most sort of 3-point perspective of everything. Maybe it should be around this level of distortion, I think. A lot of overlapping thingies. Because yeah, this one, the floor, I mean, like, I'm expecting perspective horizon line here or something. The floor may be like this, but it still feels pretty alright. Ours is like flat out, like looking down already. So the horizon would be like, I don't know, somewhere off screen, way off screen. Some of it can be chalked up to the characters leaning back, maybe, since they are looking up anyways. But yeah, let me try this one here. So like that. And then the cylinder for the legs are only visible like this because I guess we're coming forwards. Just need to be aggressive with this though. And also this part. Shitaka. Shade. Secondaries. A lot of overlaps. Aggressively overlapping. And this guy here. I mean, only if the original company built it, though, I think. Like, if they had, like, a very sort of... What's the word? hands-on, like very involved. It would suck. Like I feel like it would be so messed up if it's not up to standard, you know. That would suck so hard. Did it break this arm? What the? It looks so broken, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, like have the original designers sort of be very involved in it. That would be nice. Choose the materials correctly, do the setup correctly. But Fontaine, honestly, in game looks really empty, in my opinion. And I'm sure like game has its own limitations, right? It's open world, you can't really have like 5 bajillion things everywhere all the time, but it looks and feel really empty. I'm not just talking about entities of like people walking around, but just in general with the buildings. I feel like there's a lot of unused space. But honestly, I mean, if you ask me what to put in there, I wouldn't know. I figured like more buildings might be nice. But what do I know, right? I don't do design like that. I don't know what difficulties there are. I could guess, I suppose. Yeah, what should it be used for, right? I just want more buildings. Fontaine's design is cool because it's very sort of vertical. There's a lot of overlapping things going on. And I feel like it's... Yeah, I mean, the kind of stuff that I like is more chaotic. Like thing like Hong Kong, right? All the Hong Kong buildings are very sort of very old, very mishmash, very chaotic kind of. A lot of overlapping, a lot of stacking. I think Chengdu in China as well is also like that. But they tend to be more chaotic. They tend to be a little bit more dystopian vibe because they're slightly more rundown. The buildings are older and stuff like that. Fontaine has this sort of like very artistic society, right? They care about looks, they care about aesthetics. So they, you know, would probably be more orderly and more talking about aesthetics in like the more, I don't know, organized way, perhaps. Like more orderly fashion would be kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But even then, I feel like what they have currently is they can probably stack a few more buildings, more layers maybe, I don't know. There are a lot of gaps between buildings, is what I feel like, right? Kind of curious now, actually. Because Fontaine... Actually, I'm just gonna use my Pinterest here. Why not? Fontaine have an E or not? It does. Oh, but it doesn't have a U. City? Why is this sideways, bro? Hello? Like, if you look at this, right? Think about the number of people that can be in this city. There's like 1, 2, 3 houses. There's like 2 stories, dude. Is this city like a population of 100 people? You know what I mean? Like, cause this is already like a quarter on that side. It just feels like there's not enough people in the city. It just feels so empty. Ignoring the empty streets, of course, right? But imagine like empty streets, but you're seeing like sky-rise buildings, like sky high. Like you will still feel like the city is more populated. It does feel very empty. What the hell is this? It's probably not related. I do like their aesthetic, right? I don't want to go sky high, modernized, like high tech, that kind of vibe. I don't want elevators to look like normal modern elevators. But if you look at the amount of space that's over here, why is this like a 2-story building? Do they not have like higher, like more sort of this kind of design kind of buildings in Paris or something that's like way higher than 2 stories? Surely they have more, right? Like surely they can fill this up. I mean, part of it is so that the map, like this circle, right? Because it's like circle, circle, circle. If you make it big, wow, it's gonna take forever for the user to kind of travel through. Not to mention the lag, not to mention all that. But even within the space that we are given, that we are going to use, why not put in a few more buildings? It's not like loading it in would be that. Maybe like polygons would cause lag. I don't know though, because it's not dynamic, right? The buildings don't move, they don't change. So I don't know. Actually, I wonder if they have they ever released a sort of concept art? That's not about the characters. Surely it looks different in the concept art. Surely. These are not related, right? These are like... Boontain. If China can make a way for like water to float in cubes, that would be amazing. I would like to see that. Water is so surprisingly heavy. I really like this piece as well that's playing. It reminds me of the time where I wanted to play cello. When I was learning violin and I thought cello was like better. Don't have anything. Sad. I need to figure out what they're doing, by the way. This is what this is for. So... Because they're both kind of walking, right? So... Who's gonna be the one that sort of notices that, like, looks up at the sky, right? Because... Would Faye give a shit? Is the thing. She doesn't even like going out, so... But it's not an excuse, so maybe it's because, precisely because she doesn't go out that it kind of like, oh shit, looks nice, you know? It could be that. But if she doesn't go out and she hates seeing people, she'd probably have her hoodie on and then you probably wouldn't even notice it in the first place. But who knows, right? It's not like it's absolute. Ria, on the other hand, Ria would probably be looking up at her. But she... Oh, actually... Let me check. Yeah, this character is way bigger. How small do I want the character yet again? So this is yet another one of those questions. I think we might just want to be a little bit further than the ref here. if it's that stack there, we'll just be like here instead. So hard to draw. I can't even visualize it. That's the thing. Maybe I need the box first. Let me get the box first. So let's say she is. While hand pulling each other. Let me see if I can find that just by searching what you typed here. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. That's another problem here. We're both facing the light, is the thing. In our original comp here, she's not facing the light. That silhouettes her very nicely against it. But now I guess we are facing the light. That could be fine too, I suppose. I guess that could be fine too. So I think I was going to generate more ideas, but I'm kind of too lazy to do so. Ria will probably be first to notice, whether if it's the sky or whether if it's our third character here that she saw. Doesn't matter, but she will probably be the one that stops, which prompted Faye to stop and then turn around and look at her. So we have one character looking at this character is looking at us, and then our third character is going to be here. Ah, yes, thank you, George. Generaru. Yeah, it'd be cool if you could add more characters in, but I don't want to add more people in, just to show, Oh, by the way, George, 6-7 bot still works. It's just that it doesn't work in general. Because, it was too spammy. You can type it in the bot spam and it will still show it. Hello, is Deemer streaming my stream into a VC1? Come on. No, I don't mind Deemer. It's not a problem. I just stating it, Lama. You don't have to worry about it. I wish it's like a whole compilation of music box Genshin music. I think everyone will fall asleep, but I think it would be great. for the stream. I'm not sure about the eyebrows actually. I never quite figured this out there. Yeah, the key check's gonna be a problem forever, I think. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not committing enough. You need to commit more. To commit. What is it again? Oh shit, I forgot. 그리기는 즐겁군요. It sounds like jerk off. My god. 그리기는 즐겁군요. No. jerk off군요. Oh my. But this is how you learn, right? You make like stupid connections and then now you kind of remember it a bit better. Now everything I think of jerking off. It's great. Plus you felt the thing, you remember better. 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. Yeah, of course. That is the correct way to learn it, though. That is the correct way to do it. I don't have this character planned out yet, actually. We have to check the sequence. I'll do that some other time. Let's see. How do you say one kimchi soup? Because I know kimchi jjigae, but I don't know how to say one. 김치 Wait, it's different now. Maybe I need stew. Stew gonna. Stew. Stew? Stew? How do you spell it? Oh my god, a lot of things just doesn't really make sense. Kateria. I need the... No, it is correct though. It is katakana. Stew になってる。花주세요. Hana means one? Oh, hana means 一つ. I wonder what the difference is. Kimchi jjigae, kimchi stew, hana 주세요. 그림 그리기는. Okay. Oh my god, it's gonna take a while, man. I think one phrase a day is probably good. I used to spam the Duolingo thing on the way to work, but the only thing I remember is how to order. Well, I only remember kimchi soup. That's all I remember. I remember kimchi soup. Holy shit. I don't even know how to order one. I just remember kimchi soup. Thank you, Duolingo. I also remember how to say go to the hospital, please. Which is great. So I can go to the hospital and tell them kimchi soup. That's about it. 안 돼? 답은 어떡하냐? How does it work though? Who has the hairstyle where one side doesn't exist? 長瀞じゃない？合ってるわ。Where's my rep? Oh, it's over here. Bro. Chill out, bro. Unfortunate, but this is the only character I know off the top of my head that has this hairstyle that I want. But the vibes of the two characters cannot be any further apart. How would this work though with the side? I guess it wouldn't though. But then what is it tying to? Okay, so how? What? Oh, I can go the other route. I kinda don't like the vibes that it's giving off. どういうことじゃあ。これだったらどう？これで。Proportion wise, I think it would be bigger, it would be more triangular, it would be less long and more triangular, I think. So if it's big, it is truly big then. We have to revise this though. I'll find it at some point, I think. What did that do? What do I mean? 그리기는 오케이. 그림 그리기는 주문할게요. So hard, dude. 주문할게요. 안 돼? Oh my god. Keyboard is stuck again. 왔다. What is the backlash? I kind of forgot. Matteないか. Keep it simple, right? Hanakomore. Hello. This will be our Kemono representative character, which I will bring online next. It's gonna take a while before she comes online, though. Because I do have to craft everything again. I have a good idea of where I want to be, but a lot of the details are not even started. She will probably be the one that is the hardest to relate to. Just because the values that she stands for is stuff that I want to believe in, but it's really hard to believe in. Do have to figure out the sort of stylization though for her. あれ? あ、ないかい。あ、いや、あったわ、あった。どこ? これか。Let's see here. So what am I looking for? Oh, the years. I forgot. So many ways to draw the years. Don't know what to do with it. What is it? こんなものにしましょう。For Riarzu? Pencil? What am I looking for again? Secondary back hair. Yes. Right. But back from the front. Yeah, I mean it's flexible, right? So it's actually not really that important per se. The cannon? Oh, it doesn't have to be. Alignment's here, right? Gravity is here. Gravity. Alignment is here. The counter is this way, and this would be the counter. Gravity is this way. I don't know if we want to clear it, but actually it doesn't matter at this point. Target is still this way, but then given this posing, we might pull. I think we will pull this way. 돌아행 가나? Be the main sequence temporarily. I hope. Secondary. So Rhea would be facing top. Let's see, anime character looking up, I think is what I need. Anime looking up reference. Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. Ho ho ho. Okay, I'm just gonna collect as many references as I can here. At some point, I'm probably gonna need all of them. Oops. Dynamic or static or male or female, I think any one of these will probably help to some extent. We just need a lot of references for stuff that we don't understand that well. Face reference would be a lot harder to find. I think we might need 3D at that point because she's turning around. Like all these poses are always looking at the viewer. If we want a pose that isn't looking at the viewer and it's in third point perspective, that is gonna be pretty hard, I think, because she's gonna just kind of look at Rhea, but then not even looking up at all, I think. Let's do one by one. So maybe we'll just start sequencing. I think this might be all we can find. If it move, we do them all. Well, what does that mean? If it move, we do them all. I forgot what I was talking about again. It's probably probably talking about something I was talking about, and I just kind of forgot what I was talking about. It's great. It would help if I see the perspective actually. Maybe I should set up the grid actually. Let me get the grid going. Broski, let's go ski. So it's like wait. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, it's because the other grids are visible. So how high up? I have no clue, dude. Like this is pretty insane. It's gotta be like pretty insane for us to keep this, keep this perspective unchanged throughout. And then probably same for this, but this one is, I would imagine, already done. Yeah, like this would be already be done. So where is my third point then, I guess, is the problem. So if I add another vanishing point for the third point here, where would it be, right? It would be pretty close to... Would it be on screen? Like, okay, so... How do I decide this? There must be a way to math it out, like... Because, like, you can technically put it anywhere you want, right? You can technically put it anywhere you want. Can you technically put it anywhere you want? Yes, I think yes. I think you could. Sorry, then what determines if it makes sense? So, what if the point was up here instead, right? Like, what if this was up here? Then when I draw any sort of thing on this grid, what am I truly saying here? No. So like this, my buildings would kind of look like this, is what I'm saying. If I drew a building, it will look like this, right? And then the ground might be maybe somewhere here or something. This would be the top of the building here, for example. But then I'm only looking at here, so it's as though I'm taking photos upside down. If that were the point there, I guess is kind of how it feels like. So let's say it is I do not want it to be upside down, of course. Let's say it's just somewhere here, right? Does this match with my box here? Oh, it's a lot closer than I thought. It's not really a problem per se. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by feel for Ria, and then based on Ria's perspective, I'm going to then figure out what the grid is going to be like, and then use that to sort of plot construct Faye in. Because ultimately, like, it's the character's pose and stuff that we want to make sure is correct, right? That tells the correct story that we want to tell. So we should probably have that as priority here. And then all we need to do is make sure the other character sits in it. Because I think even if we go by feel, the concern is always like, hey, is it going to make sense physically, right? But I think if you've seen enough stuff, which I think I have, I feel like I wouldn't make that egregious of a mistake. Like a really, really bad, like physical reality breaking sort of setup. I hope. So I'm just gonna, I guess, trust myself on that one for now. So Ria is looking straight up. So we need to mimic this kind of sort of almost front-facing view. It's always very tricky. I met a Japanese girl who did some studies of manga panels, and it was really impressive because it's in traditional. So no fancy symmetry rulers and stuff like that, but all the sort of front-facing faces that she's drawn, that she's studied, like copied, right, basically from the reference, is not disordered at all. There are some very minor sort of imperfections, but then, you know, like it's kind of crazy. She did that when she was 13, is the thing. She was 13 when she drew it. It was fucking insane when I was looking at it. To be able to sort of spot the issue and fix it, right? When you're 13, I like it, like she inked it with a pen, right? But she definitely did like pencils before that. But still, to be able to see it and then have that confidence to basically ink it with pen and make it look as nice as I have seen it, it was truly very, very impressive. It's kind of a ways that she didn't pursue art, I think. I mean, both a ways and not a ways, of course, right? Because like, it's really hard to make money with art. But she was 13 when she did that. That's batshit insane, bro. She didn't just like did a line sort of study, right? She also went ahead and did shading as well. And she was telling me how she sort of decided. So she didn't learn this from anyone. She had the intuition to sort of use a tissue to smudge it. I know, like, you know, like it's not necessarily that impressive of a thing. Instead of using her hands and stuff, she decided that she can make the tissue dirty and then place it and then just smudge it in that way. Instead of drawing on the paper and then smudging it that way, which is what I was taught in school back then. To like shade it a little bit and then smudge it with your finger. But she would do it directly from the paper, from the tissue. I don't know if that's truly impressive or not, but like I feel like, you know, having the intuition, having the observational skills to be able to do it well, and then having the intuition to try new things, that also works. That was pretty cool. And because I don't draw in traditional that much, it's kind of hard to appreciate everything that was done. Since I don't do inking, I don't do shading in traditional, I don't do any of that. So maybe there's something else that's truly like more impressive too, that I just missed. But I think when she was, I was talking to her as well. I think she was like feeling like, oh, maybe I was glazing her too much, and maybe to some extent, maybe I was overdoing it a little bit, but I'm not sure. But like, I feel like having that level of observational skill when you're 13 is very impressive. And the other thing is the patience to do it. I did not have the patience for that myself, so it was very impressive to see. And like observational skills, like being good at studies, right, doesn't mean you're able to draw original shit, right? Because it's quite a gap. But at the same time, if you have that observational skill there, it means you're able to improve by yourself. And that is huge. Good stuff, good stuff. Why does the proportion look slightly off? What was my previous... what's she doing now? I don't actually know what she's studying. She's still in university. She's still studying. She's still very young. I don't know exactly what she's doing though. Even if I did, I couldn't possibly share it here either. So, yeah, what is she doing now? I have no idea. But it's not art related though. It's not art related. But, yeah, I don't know. I have to say that like sometimes I look at all these people that are much younger than me, and I see them sort of interacting with other people and learning from other people and having conversations. It makes me feel like I've like, you know, I'm really stupid, right, for not doing that earlier. Because there's so much to learn from people. There is so much to learn from people. But I think to some extent as well, it's like I kind of needed the time, the quote-unquote wasted time, to really sort of force myself to learn to be more critical about certain things, to think in a certain way and evaluate things in a certain way. Because otherwise, I don't know, right? Like if I had met a bunch of friends before, maybe I would just be playing a bunch of games. And then there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely like quite different from creating, you know? There's nothing wrong with playing games every day when you go home if that's all you want to do, you know? That's perfectly fine. I don't know, but I think since I was young, I was always yearning and seeing ideas in my head, and I really wanted to be able to bring it to life. So I think it would have been a disservice for me, personally. Yeah, there's no emotion. Like, this key is basically flat. Which is what I need, I think. Which is what we want, I think. Hello, Circle. What did you miss? Today we did some setup for the idea that I had just a moment before stream started. And then since then we've been constructing buildings. Where is it? Ah, damn it. Here? No, not that one. This one. No, this one. I've been fixing to draw all these lines here because they gotta be tight, right? They gotta make sense. Where's my building here? Yeah, I copied this building here. I still want to add more sort of variations because there's quite a number of floors here. And condominiums really like to have like random ass sort of variations halfway up the building or something. And then like there's also this other side, right? Yeah, the difficulty here is primarily just making sure like the widths are even, right? So I had to put the ruler down. I have to make sure that, hey, 2 out of the 9 sort of spaces I've allocated for each floor is for the floor, right? And then a little bit more is for the glass sort of railing that they have going on. And then the rest, blah, blah, blah. That's for that. And then the other setup here is for the characters below that's looking up. And then we have a new character from above that's looking down. She's not really new either. She actually came about before Faded. But she is the least agreeable character, I think, personally, with my own sort of worldview. But she's very important, precisely for that reason, because she is the counter. And she serves as sort of an anchor for me. And she serves as a sort of... Yeah, I guess it's like a counter, basically. Anyway, she'll be brought in at some point in time in the future, perhaps. Quite a while in the future, I imagine. Quite far in the future. The eyes don't seem to make a lot of sense to me, but I don't know what the problem is at this point. It's not a balance. It's not like it's misaligned or anything. It's just the vibes are kind of off. It doesn't feel like her. Hang on. I think I can fix that. I think Ria's key primarily is the mouth needs to be kind of low to the... Well, still doesn't really work. I feel like the eye spacing is kind of too much now. Dodaro. Wakarimahen. Oh yeah, and then we're trying to learn one Korean phrase per day. Today's phrase is drawing is so fun, right? Drawing is so fun, guys, right? You guys can agree with this. So Japanese is this. In Korean it is 그림 그리기는 shit. 즐겁군요. Very cool. Let me see if OBS can pick it up. 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. Okay, for some reason the last part became Mandarin. I'm waiting for the stream to kind of show up. I could see it earlier myself, but you captured the first two, so it's pretty good, you know. That means I'm pronouncing it good enough that it actually picks it up. The last part I'll probably get a Korean friend to tell me how it sounds like. A little bit more naturally, perhaps. 그림 그리기는 즐겁군요. It says welcome, good night. Okay, great. Congrats. Thank you, translator. So over the course of this year, we'll probably pick up like maybe, I don't know, 200 phrases if we have the same number of streams. And then if I can keep each phrase sort of relevant to what we're doing, relevant to my own life, relevant to the previous things that we have learned, right? Then that will reinforce the sort of things over and over and over. And that's going to give us a really good chance of sort of learning things permanently. Right? Because you can repeat it in daily life. I can repeat it in daily life because it's relevant. And because they're all sort of connected, then it will also form better connections that way. And then really it's just a matter of practicing it over and over and over. You get used to the pronunciation, you sound a little bit more natural. Then you can get a Korean guy to come and correct you. And then it would just be like Japanese all over again. And it shares the same grammar as Japanese. It's really nice that it does that. What a nice thing to do. What a nice thing to do for all the foreign language learners. How nice of them to just have the same thing. I wouldn't say copy, I guess. I don't know who came first, or maybe they separately discovered it. But how nice. Yeah, this character, by the way, would be barely noticeable. She'll be very, very blended into the background, like in terms of values. She's gonna be barely noticeable. So to most people, they should be looking at the sky and just thinking that, hey, the characters are looking at the sky. But she's not actually looking at the sky, I don't think. I think lore-wise, Ria is gonna be really sharp for a lot of different things. And this would be like maybe one of the ways that it comes through. I always thought about if I were to make a game, like how would I portray the character, right? But if I were to mimic how real life went, right? Because this character is always by my side kind of vibe. It would be really nice if I can get her to always be by the player's side too. So I might make areas, you know, like make areas in the game that you can only access with her. Just for lore reasons. Well, it doesn't have to be her. No, I actually wouldn't force that hand. I wouldn't force it, actually. It would be too unnatural. We just make her have really good stats and hex. So everyone would just have her. Probably just do that. And then there's no reason to take her off rotation. But then sometimes I also feel like it would be kind of interesting if I can... if I don't make her so OP that everyone will just use her. Right? Hello, Maxi. But also give her like some kind of like debuff or something. Make it not so necessarily easy or OP to use her. And then we can still see if anybody sort of likes her for who she would be. Who she is exactly, right? That we're still discovering. But then... And then to those people, maybe secret Easter eggs will get unlocked. I'll definitely do Easter eggs like that. 100%. If I were to make a game. Looks like Senko. Let me check, actually. I don't have her in mind at all when I was drawing this. Yeah, I wouldn't say so, I think. Hang on, let me check. How does Senko look like again? Because the eyes are different, I think. Yeah, the eyes are different. Senko's eyes are a little bit more neutral in terms of like the frame of the eyes. It goes up and then it goes down by roughly the same amount. So if you look at a front view, for the most part, it is... Oh my god, why is it so tiny, bro? For the most part, it is kind of like flat-ish. But this one is one of those characters that you pull the side of the eyes down a lot. And that makes the character a lot softer. Like the expression is softer, the character feels softer. And generally feels weaker. And that is, of course, deliberately chosen. Actually, all three of them has different ideas for the eyes. Ria is more neutral because I didn't want her to lean any way specifically because I don't know which way she will lean. And then Phase one is just always grumpy, so she's always kind of a little bit angry. How would the body work here? Actually, I need a new layer here for sure. My arms go. Right, the body should be turned more, right, than the legs would be. Than the hips would be, rather. Why is this so hard? Oh my god, do I want that much distortion though? I mean, if I squish it in, it has to be like this then. There's no other way, I think. Probably have to be even more, actually. Yeah, unless the hips come out, I suppose. Maybe if I push the hips out. So yeah, once I can get Ria's vibes correct, then we can get the grid out of it. And then do the alignment that way for Faye, but like until then, this is gonna be a bit of a rough patch here. Just gonna bump around for a bit, with no real direction for a bit. So try some ideas that comes to mind. Oh no, no, no. 仕方なくないですか? Because you can argue that she's leaning back, but then the legs, given this angle, it would definitely be shortened like a lot. I don't want it though, is the thing. I think I'm gonna break the perspective here on purpose. Because if I squish it down to this level, let me think about it, right? Because usually when it's so distorted, it's like a fish eye lens kind of thing where you're really up close with the character and it looks very cool, very dynamic. But then we're kind of really far away, right? We're from a really far angle. Not to say that we cannot stack the forms like this. We could, and it'll probably look more like this with like a smaller head, I think. But it just, the shapes don't feel that nice. And because my philosophy would be longer and slender forms. So whenever I can, I do want to do that. And this probably isn't one of those cases, but then like I'm seeing this and I do like the proportions I see here. It makes more sense to do this rather than to really try to squish it down and be like objectively correct. I dare say our perspective is more aggressive though. Just slightly, ever so slightly perhaps. If I don't do that, yeah, that aggressiveness feels really not very aesthetically pleasing, I feel Let me do this. Gotta start making a bunch of variations here so I can start to compare them. Yeah, it feels weird for now. So let me capture this. Let me hold on to it here. Yoink. And then I'm gonna delete this and redraw this. I can vaguely remember this kind of struggle in the past. But, you know, that's like a lot less control, right? Because I wouldn't even know what I would want to change necessarily. Or why would that necessarily be wrong, or why I would maybe change this would work or something like that. And if you think about the fact that, like, when we first started doing art, like, everything is just unknown to us, but somehow we managed to stuck all the way and got to where we are today, that's kind of really impressive. Like, if you did it by yourself, that is absolutely insane, I think. To some extent, like, I feel like it's kind of insanity. Like, the things that I did before, because I would just make the same mistakes over and over and over. For some reason, I decided that I still want to keep going. That's really crazy if you think about it. Like, who the hell does that? Why not go do something more fun, really? Yeah, this feels like more correct perspective. Just looking at this force going in, but I mean, I can always make the perspective a little bit less aggressive here too. It's also this one here. Which looks kind of nice though. 어, 뭐라구나. 실현했니? Even then, you'll still be kind of tilted. But then if you're fully facing like that, so what? You're acknowledging it, and then you're turning, and then you're stopping. Still feel like there will be a slight tilt to it, no? I think the original captured the vibe. I just don't know how to execute it. Because you don't... There is a... So if you're fully facing like that, it kind of suggests you fully stop, look, and then turn, and then look some more kind of vibe. Like that's more steps to it, rather than just stopping immediately and taking a quick glance. Is it not? So if you're facing this way, you're turning and then you're tilting back as well. That's kind of that shape, is it not? I remember to save my canvas. Oh yeah, currently it is pretty similar. I know we can deal with that later. Maybe not this way. Maybe the other way. 무리다네. 그래. I probably need 3D in this. I think the usual anatomy sort of way, like the workflow is you do some simple construction with boxes, you try to get a feel for it, and then at some point you kind of lock on to stuff that you have already drawn or have already seen. Basically your visual library is intact, like comprehensive enough for the angle and pose and stuff, that at some point it just kind of takes over. Unless your construction is really, really, really tight. Like you're very good at it. Which requires you to practice that and a lot of that. At this point, I have no idea what looks good and what looks bad. They all look bad. I mean, this is precisely the difficulty that I'm challenging myself to, I guess. The third point. Yeah, face eyes wouldn't even be visible, I don't think. So everything would just be covered. If the perspective is that aggressive. If we're going for that though. Hold on. What's your knee? Okay. Get rid of this for now. I don't know why it looks like Mickey Mouse for me. Yeah, I need 3D for this. I think tomorrow I'm just gonna start from 3D. This is so hard. Yeah, it looks like nothing in the head. So I guess like drawing from photos, even if you don't break it down, right? Because previously I was thinking if you're drawing from reference, you're studying a photo of a pose, you should probably break it down. And you should probably break it down because you learn a lot more that way. How to use the guidelines, the anatomy, the muscles and all that, right? But even if you don't, I think if you can just get a set of lines that represents the figure in a way that's satisfactory, I think this would be the time where that sort of visual library will come out, because you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen this shit before. You know, you may not understand the entire sort of setup with the guidelines or the muscles and everything, but at least you have something to go off of. Currently it's just nothing. And that makes it impossible. Yeah, she would technically be really tiny, because she's like a... This would be the lolly representative of all the characters. Should be like tiny in this stupid ass frame here. Holy shit, she'll be small. Where would she be? I think she'll be on this floor here. This is where the secondary focal is gonna be. Primary here, secondary here. Based off of the rule of thirds, right? And then tiny block over here. Yeah, cause her head's not that big, so it's like holy shit, she'll be tiny. Even with 4K res, that is not visible. That is not noticeable. Lamal. Good luck finding that. That's still kind of big, I think. Maybe not, maybe not. No, but it's still kind of big, right? Because like the balcony, this is probably like... How tall is this? Like at least 2 meters. Wait, is she even tall enough to reach over the thing? Another thing I did not foresee properly. We could always make the thing bigger, right? Make the building bigger. And then she would scale along with that, but we shall see. We need to get the setup correct first. Because this by itself should withstand as an illustration. We don't need the other one, technically. I'm gonna hop off here for today. Our 3-hour per day. Sleepy again. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. 그리기는 즐겁군요. Oh my god, dude, it's so hard to read. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I mean, let me write this down so we got all the phrases every day for each day here. There you go. But yes, anyways, thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, guys. Goodbye.